republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3 is the approval of the meeting agenda.
This is Barb, so moved.
This is Bethany, I'll second.
It's been approved and second. I'll call for the vote.
Judy, I. Barb, I.
Bethany, aye.
Robin, I.
And Lynn, aye. Item number 4 is the approval of the September 6th, 2023 Planning Commission meetings minutes. I'll look for a motion.
This is Bethany, so moved.
This is Judy, second.
It's been moved and second. I'll call for the vote.
Judy, I. Barb, I.
Bethany, aye.
Robin, I.
And Lynn, aye. Item number 5 is approval of the September 6th, 2023 public hearing minutes for Universal Services, CUP for a PUD amendment. I'll look for a vote or motion.
This is Judy. I make a motion we approve the minutes.
This is Bethany, I'll second.
I'll call for the vote.
Judy, I. Barb, I.
Bethany, aye.
Robin, I.
And Lynn, aye. Item number 7 is the public hearing and discussion, or approval of the September 6th, 2023 public hearing minutes for Dave Code Tech, RZB IUP. And I do have a correction on page 7. At the top, I had asked a question, and before he went into this answer, he said I did.
Okay.
So, and I rewatched the meeting just to clarify that. So if you
Why
could
don't you
add that.
give her the place on the video if she wants?
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I got a transcript I can.
Okay. And then I did want to mention that his response, it is accurate the way he responded, but it isn't accurate to the facts. He said that at the time it was just me and my wife, and just like every other contractor in the city, I was forced to become compliant because of political persecution that was afforded me by the city council. The current city council was not in office at the time that IUP was issued. It was requested in November of 2018, and December 12th, it was accepted. So there was no coercion or anything by the current council and mayor. I just want that on the record.
So it's not a correction, it's just a clarification.
And no one spoke up at the time from the staff. I understand the staff wasn't there, but I was there. And it was during Mayor Pavoni's, when he was mayor, during his tenure, that IUP was approved.
Okay.
Once those corrections are, wait,
It's just a clarification in the minutes.
absolutely.
Thank you.
It's what he said, so we can't change what he said.
Right.
Right. Okay, so I will look for a motion to approve the minutes with the correction that I made.
This is Bethany, I'll motion to approve the minutes with the correction mentioned.
And this is Judy. I'll second that motion.
Okay, so the motion's been made, it's been second, I'll call for a vote.
This is Judy, I. Barb, I.
Bethany, aye.
Robin, I.
And Lynn, aye. So there has been a little bit of a change for the meeting tonight. There's actually two public hearings that coincide with each other. So Eleanor will read both public hearing notices, and then we'll get into the public hearing.
Yes, so we're going to combine numbers 7 and 8, which are two separate public hearings, into one since they coincide with each other. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the City of Columbus Planning Commission on Wednesday, October 4th, 2023 at 6 p.m., or as soon thereafter as parties may be heard, and it will be held in the City Council chambers and will be conducted by interactive technology and remote locations to consider a request for a preliminary plat and final plat application, Kozakar Edition, for the combination of 2 lots into 1 lot in the Commercial Industrial CI zoning district, and to consider a request for a conditional use permit allowing a planned unit development to establish an auto repair and service and sales service in the Commercial Industrial zoning district. Members of the public interested in attending in person, monitoring the meetings, or wanting more information should contact city offices at 651-464-3120 or visit the city website at columbusmn.us. The hearing shall continue until all evidence and testimony has been received.
Thank you, Eleanor.
All right.
And thank you, Elizabeth.
Yes, thank you, Elizabeth.
So now I will ask the applicants to please come forward and have a seat at the front table. And all parties give your name and your current address. Make sure you speak into the microphone so everybody can hear you.
Good evening. My name is Ivan.
Get it closer.
Closer.
You can pull, yeah.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Ivan in Kozakar. Current address is 3862 Oak Lane, Lexington, Minnesota, 55014. I don't know what to say. I am first time.
Okay, so for the record, did you receive a copy of the staff report developed by RSC Dean Johnson dated September 26, 2023 regarding the application? This report notes certain findings numbering 1 through 12 on page 32 and 33. It also notes recommendations numbering 1 through 7. And he also noted some conditions numbering 1 through 9. And do you understand these recommendations and conditions? And do you have any questions?
Yes, I understand. I don't have any questions. If we have some questions, so I do have a specialist, like I have an architect here and engineer.
Okay, if you gentlemen want to give your name and address.
Sure. I am Jeff Hafferman, owner of Inspire Architects, located at 620 Civic Heights Drive in Circle Pines.
My name is Vladimir Sevriver. I am president of EDS Engineering.
Can you speak into the microphone more, please?
President of EDS Engineering, Design and Surveying. I'm professional engineer and licensed land surveyor, state of Minnesota. 6480 Wayzata Boulevard, Golden Valley, Minnesota, 55426.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to open the floor to the commissioners for any questions.
I had a couple of questions about your fencing on there. Do you intend on having that done before you start construction? I'm most concerned on your neighbor's side. Will that fencing be done before you start building?
Wherever what city gonna require. If it needs to be done before construction, I can do that.
Okay. That was my biggest question.
Oh. Any other questions? I know Barb and I went out there, so we asked questions and got them all answered.
Great.
then.
I really appreciate the
Yes.
time you spent with us walking the property, and it seems like you've got a good plan, and you're anxious to get going, so
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay. So at this time, is there anyone in the audience or online that would like to speak to this project? Okay, we have one. You want to come to the table and give your name and address?
Okay.
Jerry Winnicky, 14647 Lake Drive. Be right on the south side of this project here. Couple questions. Where's his drainage gonna go in this project? I own the ditch that's right next to his property. It's a private ditch. And we ran into trouble this on the Mastel project, and we still have trouble. I haven't seen, where's his containment ponds for his runoff?
Okay, Ivan, do you want to?
Is there a page that I need to go to? Is it in the agenda?
We do have ponds.
Yeah, I can address the drainage.
Yes, right there.
The entire parcel is separated by two areas. The building would be directed to the rain garden or biofiltration pond, and other side of the building, east side, would be directed to the pond on the east side with outlet structure directed to the wetland. As to the south side ditch, and I can see it on the plans, it is untouched, and the ditch would be functioning the way it was before. But the whole side would be directed either east or west, and it will be a swale on the north side to protect the north property, and on the south side it will be a retaining wall protecting the south property, that no water would be directed to the neighbor on the south. Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Somewhat. The question, you can answer it real quick. No water from this property can enter that ditch. It does not,
No,
it does not
it does
currently
not,
enter now,
no.
and it cannot in the future.
Yes. It cannot
It cannot
enter.
enter that ditch.
Yes.
Okay? Put that on the record. Your current driveway, is that an easement going in there, or are you putting in a new driveway?
New driveway.
Driveway? Okay. So basically, Ivan, you're in the salvage car business, and then you run a body shop.
Yes.
So you'll be bringing salvage cars in here with fluids leaking out of them and things like that.
Of course not.
Well, of course you will, because it's a salvage car, we all know that. Where do you intend to unload them inside the property, on the street, like you're currently doing?
You can have this one.
Okay. Yeah.
It would be easy for you.
Okay.
We should have this on a screen someplace.
Yeah, if they tell me what page,
Actually, it's a sheet
It's an enclosure.
C5.
Big sheet.
The ponds. Okay. And then here is the driveway. I have a, yeah. Oh, okay.
This is
So-
the south side.
Yeah, this is your side, so your house is over. Okay. So the driveway going to be over here. So here is the sale lot. And you say,
so Ivan, we can't hear you, so.
okay. So the question was about the cars which is going to come from the auction. When we're talking about the salvage, we're not going to sell any parts, and we're not going to have any cars for parts. If I'm going to have, that's why we have 9 doors of the building. If I'm going to storage some parts cars, we had this the conversation with Elizabeth. So the damaged cars is going to be this. This is the one building, and then the front is going to screen from the highway. Do not see the repairable cars, which is going to be parked over here. Between this fence we already put it between me and you, so you're not gonna see it, and it's not gonna leak anything.
Okay, so what he's stating is a driveway. Driveway coming in off 23 now?
Yes.
Our property is right
23 is here.
right here. Our property line is right here. You quit with your fence also up here. And you're gonna clear all this screening out here now?
We're going to continue.
Fence is gonna go all the way to 23?
Not all the way, I'll make sure to see how far I can from the.
Well, I'd like to see it all the way to 23, the screen that there being that he's opening up the screening that's there now. Same fence is fine.
I'm fine.
One of the things, I'm still concerned about the leakage, but he claims there is no leakage, but it's up to the city to decide on that. There's a shed on the back of the property.
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
I keep forgetting to move that. There's a shed on the back of the property.
This one,
Yes,
okay.
Will be
Is that-
removed.
that's going to be moved, because I believe that's on, partially on our property.
Oh, this one.
No, it's not non-removable property because, because we know the surveyor.
Is this the shed here?
Yes,
Is this the property line here then?
yes.
So where is the back wall?
I'll show it to you, right there.
Well, it shows it's on the property line here.
No, there is not in the property line.
No, the shed is not on the property line, but
Your
It
current,
doesn't matter
your current
anyways.
survey posts are right next to the shed.
Okay, anyway, we're gonna
next to
remove
the
it.
shed,
Jerry.
we're gonna remove it anyway,
Okay,
so it's
so
no
that's-
point of discussion.
Well, there is a point for the discussion because it's there. So-
No, no, I mean.
That's why we're here.
I didn't put it there, so.
No, I understand that.
But you're going to move it?
For sure.
Okay. So we'll have to add that. If it's not, Dean, if it's not in the conditions, we'll add it. If it's not in the conditions, we'll add it. He's going to move the shed that's on the
It is
adjacent
on
property.
demolition sheets.
Right now, I indicated they're being tossed.
Oh, so they're
not
being
moved.
demolished.
That's based on comments that we heard. Those two sheds are in the drainage easement, and they're going to be removed.
Okay, so they'll be removed, not demolished, well,
Not
not moved,
Not moved, removed,
removed.
demolished. If there's a change in that, you need to know about that, and you can agree to approve it or not. The other thing I was going to say, for the purpose of being able to record information for a public hearing, we cannot have an exchange like this. We need Mr., is it Weineke?
Winnicky, yep.
Winnicky to simply state his concerns and not go back and forth.
Okay.
Otherwise, the record is miserable.
Okay,
And so my request is, if he's not done,
let him finish his
he can
question.
still ask that you address all of these points,
Okay,
but we can't have an exchange
okay,
with a neighbor and the applicant.
okay,
After you take all this testimony, if you wish to go back and forth and answer or even ask additional questions, but for the sake of the hearing, it should not be question and answer. It should just be, well, here are my concerns. I live next door. I don't want to see any junk. I don't, whatever. So can we do it that way?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
okay.
I think the other gentleman can stay at the table, but let
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Winnicky go ahead and state his comments, and then he can leave the table
Address them, okay.
and then allow the next party to come in. But
Okay, so do you have any more questions?
So once the two sheds are removed in the rear, are you going to continue that fence to where you're going to use the property? Looks like there's a line here. Because now currently your south fence there quits before the sheds. So I'd like to see that continued on, the privacy fence there. Like he
Okay.
said, he'd continue with the front to the highway.
So you're saying that
Okay.
you want the fence to go to the Lake Drive and to the rear?
Correct.
Okay.
Are we doing both the plats and the CUP right now at the same, I thought we were just doing the plats first.
Well, did you read both public hearing notices? So,
Okay, so it's all three of them then.
yeah.
So the plat is a combination. It's not, you know what I mean, it's not a subdivision, it's a combination. So in this particular case, it's two lots becoming one.
Right, I understand that, but I mean, we're talking about other conditions that involve the planned
Well,
unit
for the
development.
sake of him only coming to the table once, he can ask all his questions. So any more besides the fence?
How many salvage vehicles does he plan on putting on the property?
Okay. And then any more?
I don't know if I asked this. Your salvage vehicles come in by semi. Where is the unloading of this going to take place? Is it going to be on the highway? Or I don't see where there's room for a semi to get in there and turn around on this lot. We currently have the problem with the Mastels across the street with their semis always parked on the road, and then you can't see to get on 23 because they block that shoulder. So that's a concern of the unloading of the semis.
Okay.
And other than that, I think hours of operation maybe. What, if we know what that's going to be. Is it going to be weekends or 24 hours a day or 8 hours a day or? And that's about it, and I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, do you want to address those questions?
Yes, about the fence, it's going to be if it's necessary to be right from the highway, but I don't believe this is allowed. I don't know, but I'm okay to put the fence like south side, like from Jared's side. I can put. I think it's going to be from the highway should be, I don't know, 25 or how many feet should be there, and I'm gonna put like the same fence like I put it already, and of course we're gonna bring, because I knew it, the shed over there we're going to take it off. That's why that we stop right near to that shed. So we're going to bring to the. We'll be pretty close to the wetland, so somewhere there. Yeah, it's going to be another, because on one of the email, I think I indicate there is no fence, but it's proposed fence in the back. And about unloading cars, basically, right now, we have, in my shop, which I have on Maple Street in Lino Lakes, right now we have like around 25 to 30 cars, which is going on, which is some cars waiting parts, some cars waiting, so repairable, we have like, but that's why I wanna have a bigger shop, so I think it's going to be around, let's say, 35 cars. That's what I'm thinking to have in process all the time. And when we talking about the load and unloaded, we have a new driveway and we have an old driveway. If this is a problem for the neighbor, we can receive the semi trucks to go to the new driveway, unload it in this corner, and I'm planning to have a gate between the old driveway, and we can once in a while when the semi come, we can use this driveway to get out. This is one of my thinking if that is a problem for the neighbor to unload in the highway.
And then the hours of operation?
Yeah, our operation is from, let's say, from 7:30 to 7 or 7:30. Let's say 7:30 to 7:30.
I think the hours of operation
We have somewhere.
was in the report.
I forgot when, but It's 8?
Okay.
Yeah,
What is
they
this
were.
thing?
I thought it was like,
8 to 6 or something? But it's not 24 hours for sure. And Sunday, we're not going to be open.
It's on 36, number 18, page 36.
you.
Number 18,
Okay.
Monday through Saturday, 8 to 7.
Yeah, 8 to 7, okay. So,
Monday through Saturday.
yes.
Yep. Ivan, when I was out there at the site, we looked at that existing fence that you were talking about, and you told me you're going to put a new gate on there, so it's going to slide.
Sliding the
Yes,
gate.
so
yes.
it'll be much more effective if you do have to go in through the entrance and out through that exit. So you do have 2 exits rather than just one. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, again, if
If it's necessary.
like I said, that driveway, it is there already, so
Yes.
we can use just for, like I said, emergencies, so.
Right, so you won't have trucks.
Not all,
Piled up on-
not all the time, because in front of the building is going to be enough parking lot to turn around and go back.
Right, exactly. Thank you.
Yes.
Is there anybody else in the audience or online that wanted to speak? Okay. Any other
I would
questions?
like to make a comment.
Okay,
Don't mind. Yeah, we started this project
into the microphone, please.
again.
Yeah.
We started this project exactly 2 years ago, and it's been a long run, back and forth and back and forth. And we want to say special thank you the city administrator Elizabeth Mursko, Mr. Mayor Jesse, and special thank you for helping to us to Dean Johnson. All the way through, it was overwhelming support and understanding.
Thank you.
It was a difficult project, but we went through coming to the end. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I am going to close the public hearing and open it up for discussion amongst the commission members. If we need anything, we'll ask, but thank you. Okay,
So I
Judy?
just want to clarify, are those sheds being removed or demolished? Are they being, I shouldn't say removed, are they going to be moved or torn down?
It's removed and not used on the property.
Should I answer? Yeah.
Please.
There is just frame and metal, no, not insulated. No, it's easy to remove. So
Okay.
metal to metal, wood.
Gone, okay. And then my other one was, do we have a satisfactory answer to the drainage? I mean, that's got to be an engineered thing that's a yes or no question.
Would you like me to comment?
Yes.
In your packet, and I realize you haven't had a presentation, and I'm happy to go through any and all details, and I want to make certain, because previously there perhaps are a couple of conflicting comments in the recommendations that I'm making, and so I want to expose those. But to answer your question first, there is a copy of the CAPROC, the conditionally approved pending receipt of changes from Rice Creek Watershed. They have jurisdiction on this project, so they have reviewed the details. And I think, as Vladimir commented earlier to Mr. Winicke's question, there are two primary activities going on for drainage. The west half of the property is a large rain garden next to Lake Drive. And on the east side of the property, for the balance of the site, is a large new stormwater pond. There were a couple of questions from the city engineer about details, which my recommendation is you incorporate the engineer's comments as part of the recommendations, and that all gets resolved when an actual permit from Rice Creek is issued. So from my perspective, based on the two comments from the city engineer and the CAPROC already issued by Rice Creek, I don't have any outstanding issues. And all of our recommendations, be it the plat or the conditional use permit, are subject to those permits.
Can I ask you something, Dean?
Answer your question, yes.
Yeah, the engineer made a point that he was concerned about the slanted roofs, so that, you know, the water would drain onto the property and not to the neighbor's property. Has he resolved that issue, or?
I'm not aware. There's a 10 feet setback, and so it's not like the roof line is over the neighbor's property. It is, what is the conveyance? Is it a ditch? Is it a, and that's a question.
Yeah.
And I think it's the absence perhaps of a detail from the city engineer's viewpoint on where that conveyance was. Is it possible it can seep into the neighbors? All of that gets resolved in the physical permit issued by Rice Creek. We don't have jurisdiction on drainage because they're doing that permitting. We have an ordinance that indicates what requirements need to be met. Their requirements are far more strenuous.
Okay,
So
that's what
I think it'll be resolved, and I certainly expect that the city engineer at the city council discussion on this would be in a position to comment fully that, yes, either he works with Rice Creek or that is routinely a Rice Creek issue. But I'm glad that he presented it because, again, sometimes we don't get the level of detail in these plans that answer all those questions. But the buck stops at Rice Creek. They are the permit authority.
And that was one of Mr. Winnick's problems.
Right, and regarding his earlier comment that that ditch can't take any more water, the rules are you don't allow any more water post-development than existed pre-development. And so there will not be additional. Am I out there with a tablespoon measuring and so forth? No, that's not my job, but those are the rules. And so there are very strenuous requirements in place, no matter which watershed we're located in, that the post-development increase does not occur. That's not only a quantity factor, but it's the rate of that. So if you've got one of these 6-inch storms in 24 hours, you have to accommodate that. You get a nice soaker for 5 days, nobody worries about it, but they design all the facilities based upon both rate and the control of water going somewhere.
So the experts are taking care of that.
That's what I like to say.
Good.
Any other questions of me other than I want to talk about a couple of other things. Elizabeth mentioned early on, this is not a plat for any other reason than to combine two existing parcels of record. And we can't allow building over those, and so it's combined as a plat. As my memo indicates, we have both preliminary and final plat. The Planning Commission normally does not make a recommendation on a final plat, but since the state law allows applicants to submit a final plat when it's uncomplicated with the preliminary plat, you may as well comment on that too. So the things I want to mention about the plat are, I make the point based upon the comments I had with the applicant that those two sheds, and with respect to Mr. Winnicke's question, you know, he thought maybe they're on his property line. The survey that's submitted doesn't show that, but they do exist within our 10 feet side yard drainage easement. And we didn't ask, are you going to move them? They simply said they'll be removed. So if that's not going to happen, then that needs to be clarified. So are we clear? The buildings are gone. Okay, then my memo is adequate. One of the other things, and I'm going to go back and forth between both plat and get into the conditional use permit issues. I make the comment that for the plat as well as the conditional use permit, the city engineer, or excuse me, the city attorney, along with whatever other recommendations they wish to make, should consider the rescission of the existing easement across the residential properties. When we first met with the applicant last spring, a year ago, we expressed concern that the access to the property crossed two residential properties. And that's through an established legal easement. But we're not going to tolerate having access on those residential properties by commercial activity. So up to this point, until Mr. Kozakar bought the property, there were 3 residences there, and they all shared the same driveway. He's now got a new access, and what I heard being discussed, well, how are you going to unload a big semi full of vehicles? You hope you got a professional driver, because I'm not ready to suggest that that driveway be used at all for any commercial purpose. It's crossing city easements. It's the wrong thing. And so I want to clarify, we're not using that residential driveway anymore. And you, as the owner of the property, have no problem if the city attorney agrees and says, we need to rescind the easement agreement so that your 2 neighbors live in peace and don't have a threat of other people in the future using the driveway. Are we okay with that?
I am okay,
Yeah.
definitely.
And when I heard the question about unloading semis, there were 2 of them being unloaded in front of the
Waldox.
the Waldox on the way, and it's not the first time I've witnessed that, and I don't think it'll be the last time that happens. It's not our roadway. We don't want to create unsafe conditions. This will be a new access. A professional truck driver ought to be able to do a 90-degree turn with a rig of any size. And if they can't because of the parking configuration, they can move some cars on the rare times that this happens. But I want to be clear, there are no provisions in any of my recommendations that regard using that private driveway anymore. It's done.
No, I knew it. I knew it. Yeah, so I just said like a option.
Yep. And we have one exception, but this has gone on for a long time, and that's Cityview Electric. There is a private drive that they share with the blessing of the property owner, but they don't use it very much either. I don't care for those recommendations. It never lets wounds heal properly, and I just would like to flush out if we're not going to close that down, then we need to change the recommendations. So it sounds like that's fine. I did have hours of operation in here, and in my conversation with Mr. Kozakar, he unfortunately doesn't get to leave when everybody else does, and I think he was telling me, well, it might be 7 in the morning till 8 at night, but I'm always the last one to go. I want to make clear for the public record, for Mr. Winicky, who took the time to show up, we don't regulate those hours. We put them in here as findings of fact, and so we have a range of hours. If you were to say it's 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., it wouldn't be any different from a lot of other businesses on the road, and again, we don't intend to regulate that. But he's assured me his family requires that he has Sunday off.
Yes.
So it's Monday through Saturday. I want to go into the details on the conditional use permit, and they did apply for a planned unit development review, which allows some wiggle room on your behalf if you feel that the presentation of materials from the developer, the quality of the development itself allow for an exchange or an offset of some regulations. Rather than walk through these in any detail in my findings, which I hope you've done, we do have to address one of two ways, and this is my condition number 10. I don't have your page numbers when I print my copy, so I don't know what page that is.
30.
37. So number 10. I've given you an option in here that you need to resolve at whatever point you make recommendations to the city council. And it is that the applicant meet the requirement that there be no more than 50% metal facing the roadway, which now it exceeds that. Or you consider that the overall design, the plan, and the closeness of this meeting our requirement, you approve it under the PUD. So that's why there's an or in number 10. And we can talk about that in detail, but you got one or two options. You either say, you know, and I think I estimated, and we're lucky to have the architect, I think it would take 285 feet of additional stone.
I've changed the elevations.
Oh, okay.
However, you do not have a
I don't
copy
have
of
them.
that. The only copy that I have is an 11 by 17.
Can you, would you
I can
describe to
explain
the
it.
planning
I can
commission what you
describe
did?
it. Can you pull up A300 at all?
Did you say A300?
Yeah.
If I don't have it, why would she have it?
The previous design.
Oh,
So I can kind of describe where changes
okay.
occurred.
No. I got you. Thank you. Well, while they're looking for that, I want to go into another, and that regards the landscape plan. Technically, we're a little light on the trees. They have a lot of species out here with additional shrubs, which we don't require.
see the title.
And it would require you to say, you know, we want you to modify the landscape plan to meet the required number of overstory trees, or we authorize your proposed landscape plan based upon that which was submitted, and that's part of the PUD. So you've got two options that need to be resolved. And again, I don't, oh, here we go, maybe this will be it. And Jeff can then describe to you.
What page is it? A1?
A300. This is the other building.
That's the house remodel.
AM and C.
One more. Yep. There you go. So if we extend the stone on the large A-frame that's closest to the road, so we're looking at the front elevation on top. And if we extend the stone on the corners all the way up to the roof line, as well as extend the stone up to the window, underside of the window, we can achieve our 50% by doing that.
And again, that's an alternative that you can go with. One of the commissioners prior to the meeting said to me, I particularly like the design and the effort that faces the street side. If your conclusion is, why are you adding 285 square feet of stone? Does it do anything? That's your recommendation. I'm only pointing out the code issues. And so I don't know if you want to debate and flush this out right now?
I think it looks great in this, what we have. I really do. Not that it would look bad to add the stone, but I don't know, I'm trying to visualize it, and I don't know if it would look any better, in my opinion. But that's me.
I think it looks fine, too.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
Additionally, I did add 2 windows on the top on both sides of that.
Madam Chair and Planning Commission members, from my perspective, I think you have to understand what the code says and to be fair and consistent. You're making an exception, and if you want to continue to make exceptions, that's okay, but understand when you accept something that's less than the requirement, and when you're asked again to accept something less than the requirement, it's hard to say it's okay in your particular case, but it's not okay in your case. And I think you have to understand that the code is there, you know what I mean, and you have to be consistent, and so I understand things look good, but next time when it doesn't look good, and I just bring that to your attention because on other occasions on Lake Drive, we have held them to the standard.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Sure.
So again, you can make your decision, I just want you to understand that that's the issue.
And it's a good point. I mean, we can say it looks good, but if we've required other people to meet more, then
Yeah.
So you're recommending his last?
So can you go through that again of where
Yeah.
you're adding the stone?
So
Just-
Want me to walk up here?
I have drawings and renderings that I can show you after if you want to take a look at them, but
You're talking about going up on both
correct,
sides,
yep,
up to the eave line,
correct.
and you added
Two windows on both sides,
and
so
you're
four
going up
total.
To the base of the windows. Okay.
all across the facade with more stone.
Okay, from an architectural eye, do you think having that gap between the window and the stone is more aesthetically pleasing than having it all the way up? Or does
I think having it to the underside of the windows is best, to not have a gap.
Well, there you go.
Sure.
We'll get it.
So you have on our copy, two groups of 2 windows, total of 4 windows, so you're adding 2 more windows. So there's a total of 6 windows?
No, I'm sorry. There's 2 windows on each side, so there's a total of adding 4 windows.
So there will be a total of 8 windows?
Yes.
coming around.
Yeah, so that'll be good.
Windows are good.
Yeah, that sounds.
It's just easier to pass it around and for all of us to see what he's,
Yeah, no, totally.
Talking
That'll be
about.
helpful.
so.
I had the same question as Judy about the windows coming straight from, but if he says it's better, then he's the one who knows.
I like the 8 windows.
You can see on the sides where, so it's,
Thank you.
now, how do we put this into our recommendations, how do we add that to the conditions? Is that going to be number 23 then?
Madam Chair, if I may, if you'd go into my number 10, cross off everything after number 4. Is there a date on your revised plan, Jeff?
Yes, there is.
What is the date that they're looking at?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Is that 10/3? You could say, according to the updated plan dated October 3, 2023. So just add that at the end of number 10, crossing out everything after or.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay? And then
Yes, that would.
similarly, the only other exception I noted from the ordinance standpoint is the requirement for trees on the property. And as I noted, we credit properties for the areas of the site that are not usable or developable, and that includes easements, rain gardens, things of that magnitude. I'm calculating that they should have either 13 or 14 overstory trees, shade trees, pine trees, whatever. They're proposing 6, but then they also are proposing 72 arborvitae, which are scattered to the north near the neighbor to the north, and then some along the south side of the property, west of where the existing fence ends. So that was part of the screening. I think Mr. Winnicky was asking, can you run that fence further out there? And so I want to be clear, they're not meeting this requirement either. And I like Elizabeth's, I wasn't going to impose my commentary on you. I like her knowledge that anytime you make exceptions, somebody else is going to ask for them. And so in this case, you do have a fairly substantial trade-off going on here. There's a lot of arborvitae, which is a screen-type tree, which may have more value than simply saying you need to add 6 or 7 more shade trees. That, again, is another judgment call, but that one's a little more defensible than the stone issue, which is just add 285 square feet and you're there. So maybe you wish to discuss the merits of the landscaping.
So do I have a landscape plan here that I just can't find? How tall are these arborvitae? Are they
20 feet, or, no, here, it's number
So it's in writing here?
22 on page 36.
Let me see which.
6 deciduous, 72 arborvitae, 12 perennials.
Yeah, but how, are we talking 12-foot arborvitaes, or are we talking, because they come in different shapes?
You got it right here.
Sizes. But
Which one's the
give
landscape
me the
plan?
height. That's my question, is how tall?
the
Because
plant-
you talk about a shade tree versus a tall arborvitae, or a shrub arborvitae.
So what are you proposing with the height, the type? And the reason I can't answer that from an ordinance standpoint, we don't require shrubs or perennials anymore. That was taken out of the ordinance, so we don't have a minimum standard. So do you have an idea, are these 6-inch buckets or 3-foot buckets?
Right.
Honestly,
Either of you?
honestly, I didn't, never thought I have more things to.
Oh, there they are. It's on
We
A1,
proposed the
landscape plan.
Brandon type arborvitaes along the property lines and 6 shaded trees in this landscape plan.
And how tall are the arborvitae that you're going to put?
Brandon type could be 15, 20 foot tall.
Planting size.
No, I'm not asking about the planting size as much as the mature size as well.
Mature size, yes. What's
Because
gonna
if
be
it's
in
going
the
to
future?
mature at 12 feet, it's probably a 6-foot tree that they're planting, maybe 5.
You can buy a 12-inch arborvitae at any of the places, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
What is your,
so-
what
so
is
we
your
ma-
planting size?
Okay,
I don't have landscape plan in front of me.
it says what?
5 to 8 feet.
Okay,
This one.
Janet, was that the landscape plan on C11?
thank you.
Yes.
So it's in, I'm sorry, it's in the lower right-hand corner where it says proposed trees and shrub schedule.
So is that the final height of the arborvitae, 5 to 8 feet, or is that the planting height?
It's a planting size,
Okay, thank you.
5 feet.
So you're talking a good,
I'm not seeing the dimension at all.
so they're talking a
That's
good
when
size.
it's fully grown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who said that, Janet, back here?
Yes.
Show me where you see. Right here.
It's in the table.
Yeah, that's mature. That's not, I want to know what the planting size is. So I'll give you I'll get back to my. Because we don't regulate shrubs anymore or require them, that we don't have a plant size. So that's the reason for asking. The shade trees have to be 2.5-inch caliper. If they are conifers, they have to be 6 feet. That's the plant size. So our question is, are you going to Menards and getting a bucket and they're 12 inches tall? Or what is, when they are installed, what can you tell your neighbor they'll look like? Because they're all along your south line facing his property. How tall are they going to be when they're installed?
They're gonna be approximately 5 foot tall when installed. But the mature size of this type of the tree is 15 to 20 foot tall.
When I include that in the record, then you got 72 5-foot. That almost meets the height of your pine tree.
Which is a great screen.
Yeah, that's all we want to verify. I would include that in the motion if you create the waiver that you're accepting the 72 feet or 72 arborvitae shrubs at plant size 5 feet tall, or planting size at 5 feet.
And that's for number 22, add that to proposal 22.
That's a big arborvitae to plant.
Right.
I mean, that's fine. And the younger ones will grow 12 to 20 inches in the first year or two.
Well, and if our purpose is screening,
Yeah,
that's going to do a better job of screening than a shade tree.
Right.
Because the shade screen screens high during the summer.
Yep.
and as you can see on this drawing, the primary benefit to Mr. Winnicky is from where the existing fence ends. That's as close as it gets to 23. But now this tree line will extend all the way past the parking lot within 40, 50 feet of the roadway. So the other question was asked, are you going to extend the fence closer to 23? It might be at cross purposes with planting the landscape materials. You have to resolve that. I have no condition or recommendation here that talks about extending the fencing any further than what is shown on the plan. So if you had that interest, the only question that came up as part of the testimony regarded Mr. Winnicky, the neighbor to the south. Well, can't you run that fence all the way down there? Well, if you're going to put 36 arborvitae, I don't know that you want the fence, or you wouldn't require the arborvitae. It wouldn't be both.
Well, you're not going to be able to go all the way up to 23. There's going to be a setback, and none of the other businesses are required to have a fence up to 23.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't
But
think,
you can't.
Right.
You can't.
Well, that he was saying that, like, as far as I can, but
Right,
there's not gonna
so-
be,
I
well,
mean,
don't you think the arborvitae will look better than just a,
Well, but you can't even plant the arborvitae within so far of the road. I mean,
right, so,
And make one last clarification. Do you understand, right now, the fence is up on the north property line. It's also, if you go straight south, it is also on the south line. There's a chain link fence connecting them on the west side. And what's intended to be done is continue the same wood fence on the east side. And if you find preliminary plat drawing, or if you have one that is labeled fence construction, it goes to the east of those two existing buildings that are going to be removed. And that was one of Mr. Winnicky's question. Are you going to put that fence all the way down to those buildings? It actually goes beyond those buildings, but the buildings are gone. So those are the only other clarifications that I wanted to be sure you had. You still need to make a change in some fashion on at least the landscape. That's the only other ordinance issue that I presented you.
Okay. Anything else for us, Dean?
No. I'm always happy to answer questions.
So we're saying that we prefer the approval of the PUD, CUP authorized substitution of required over trees as illustrated in the landscaping plan dated August 18, correct?
What is the date of that plan that we looked at?
That was the
The
3rd.
new one? Was it dated yesterday?
There is no new landscaping plan. That one is the one dated August 18th, the one with the arborvitaes that we were just discussing. The update, so that's condition 11 that you're no, 12 that you're talking about. Earlier, when he showed us the updated plan,
Architect plan, yeah.
the updated architecture plan that was dated yesterday, that was condition 10 that we discussed.
Okay.
This one is the one 8/18/23.
Yes.
Do you need the number off of it?
Nope. So as far as the plat, right, do we make a recommendation on that, or is that just our thoughts?
Nope, you would make a recommendation.
Okay. So does anybody have any other questions regarding the plat?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so I'll look for a motion.
So I'll give it a shot with some help from my friends. So I make a motion that we approve the plan.
You use number 7, because the language, Eleanor has the language laid out for you
Okay,
in the agenda packet, in the agenda.
on the agenda, okay.
I don't see it.
So number 7?
So you would be approving the preliminary and final plat, and then
For
just kind of read it all.
Okay, I make it a motion to approve the preliminary and final plot for Kozahar Addition 14755 Lake Drive Northeast with the inclusion of the changes made to number 10.
No, because that's
for the next
se-
one.
That's the next
Oh, that's, okay.
one.
Well,
This
then-
is just
okay.
the
Oh, then
plat
I've got the easy one.
with recommendations on page 34, 1 through 9.
Along with, there's 2 things for the plat, and I think Dean added with the removal of the 2 sheds, and because that's a plat condition. And also with the relinquishing of the private drive. Those are plat conditions.
Okay.
So you didn't get the easy one.
Do I have to say it all over again?
No.
Who second?
I'll second. Bethany.
You're accepting the amendment.
We got you.
Okay, the motion's been made and it's been second. I'll call for a vote.
Judy, aye.
Barb, aye.
Bethany, I.
Rob and I.
Lynn, aye. So the plat is done. Now we'll go to
So,
the conditional use permit.
yeah, and for this, how, should I word it just like with, for number 10, it's the first one, and for number 12, it's the second one, but I don't know how I'm supposed to say that.
So if you use number 8,
Yep.
you're going to recommend approval, and then you're going to read what's on the agenda, but then you're going to include all the changes that we discussed. And once you get there, we can, you know,
Help
kind
you
of,
out.
there were, I think Dean could probably help you out, because there were a couple of changes here.
Yeah,
Could I just, for everybody, including the applicant's benefit, I'll just read what I have written down. On number 10, it would be approval of the PUD CUP requires additional stone on the westerly facade of the office or shop areas to maintain a maximum of 50% metal siding, consistent with the revised architect's plan dated 10/3/23. And then number 11 would cross out the first option. It'll say approval of the PUD CUP authorizes substitutions of 72 5-feet tall arborvitae in lieu of required additional overstory trees.
okay. So, I'll make a motion to approve the CUP for a PUD, Kozakar Auto Repair, 14755 Lake Drive Northeast, with the changes discussed, which are the approval of requiring additional stone on the westerly facades of the office and/or shop areas to maintain a maximum of 50% exposed metal siding consistent with the revised architect's plan dated 10/3/23. And the approval of the PUD CUP authorizes substitutions of required overstory trees as illustrated on the landscape plan dated August 18th, 2023.
Beautiful.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion's been made, it's been second, I'll call for the vote.
Judy, aye.
Barb, aye.
Bethany, aye.
Robin, aye.
And Lynn, aye. So that will be a recommendation made to the city council for next Wednesday, October 11th at 6 p.m. So you may want to be here in case they have any questions for you. Okay, thank you. That's it. Item number 9 is public open forum. Is there anyone in the audience or online? Hearing and seeing none. Planning Commissioners report. Nothing?
I have nothing.
Nope.
Barb?
City Administrators report.
I just want to make sure that all of you received the email from Connor, and if you didn't, check your email, because we will have the Columbus event on October 19th from 4 to 6, and we want to make sure all of you got your invitations in order to attend the business networking event at Running Aces.
Perfect.
And that's it?
Can I ask a question about those invitations?
Yes.
Are we being directed to use any special verbiage, or we just go in there and talk and hand them the invitation, the businesses that were assigned?
The direction is using the invitation. There was a email that went out by Connor that kind of introduced it, saying an EDA member is going to be handing you out invites to our Columbus event, but there wasn't any special language to or script.
The businesses have gotten a preliminary email
Yes.
invitation. We're going to walk in the door, say our thing, and personally invite them.
Correct.
There's nothing.
And then personally invite them and then encourage them to make sure they RSVP, because when they RSVP, Connor is going to get either their logo or some pictures or whatever it is that they want to put, because he's going to make a slideshow, and that's going to be showing on the wall. So, but we need to encourage them to put those pictures and things together, because we don't have any from the businesses. So if they have a picture from like Fall Fest or ribbon cutting or something that they want to show on the wall, so that we could, you know what I mean, so we can have the slideshow. We do have the TV available to us, And then he said that he would put it all together.
So when they RSVP, he'll reach out to them to get all that stuff.
Yep, but just encourage them to kind of think about, you know what I mean, like kind of putting them together. So when they RSVP, he's just going to give them the email address and say, go.
Okay, thank you.
Did you say we got 2 emails from Connor?
You should have gotten 1 email from Connor with the invite in it.
Okay, just inviting us to go to the thing. She's talking about inviting other people,
No, they-
inviting businesses?
The businesses got an email from Connor. We got an email from Connor. I was just wondering if there was anything special, any script you wanted me to read or something, so.
Who are you reading this to, this theoretical script?
no,
So the
I-
EDA members are actually going out, and Judy happens to be an EDA member. She's actually going out
Yeah.
with
Okay.
invites.
I'm sorry, I thought,
I was like, am I supposed to be like inviting people to this?
I'm so sorry, I thought we all had a job.
Got it. Okay.
I'm just going to add real quick, I believe there's going to be a sign from Fall Fest there.
Yes.
With the sponsors on. So if you're talking to one of the sponsors, thank them for sponsoring Fall Fest and being part of the community. I mean, everybody here was a volunteer in some fashion, and I just think that the more we thank them, the better it is. So thank you.
So who designed this and printed it?
I just gave Vito Designs the outline, and then they designed it.
Well, I think it's pretty darn wonderful.
Yeah.
And very professional, very fun, very fallish, very good.
I like it too. I love the color.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Okay. Anything else? If not, I'm going to close the Planning Commission meeting for October 4th, 2023 at 7:13 p.m.
We need a motion to adjourn?
Did we have to make a
Oh,
motion to
sorry.
adjourn? I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. I'm just trying to,
This is Judy, I'll second it.
Boom.
okay, I'll call for the vote.
Judy, aye.
Barb, aye.
Bethany, aye.
Rob and I.
Lynn, I. Okay, adjourned.
Great.